Balochistan has a long history of insurgency, with nationalist groups advocating for greater autonomy. For instance, in the period of 1973 to 77, the Pakistani government fought a difficult campaign against the Balochi insurgency, employing up to 80,000 troops. In recent years, the Balochistan people have been demanding economic emancipation, in particular through a bigger share of the revenue generated by the province's natural resources, principally natural gas. Despite Balochistan being rich in natural resources, the Baluch people remain economically marginalized and receive little benefit from the exploitation of these resources. While many advocate for a peaceful resolution to these issues, there are factions, including the Balochistan Liberation Army, a group of around 500 guerrillas that has engaged in armed insurrection and terrorism in pursuit of their objectives. In its efforts to counter the Baluch struggle, the Pakistani government has attempted to suppress the opposition by increasing the military presence in the region. According to the independent rights groups such as Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, hundreds of Baluch people have been killed while in the custody of the Pakistani security forces. Reports from these groups detail forced disappearance, torture, summary executions, and deaths in custody. The organization Asian Human Rights Commission collects statistics and claims it is aware of 126 extrajudicial killings last year and over 400 disappearances. All these rights groups affirm that Pakistani intelligence agencies employ kill and dump tactics in which the victim is first abducted, tortured, and killed in cold blood and then dumped in open fields. Now, there's no question there is a terrorist element at work in some factions of the Balochistan independence movement. However, the tactics used by agencies of the Pakistani government that rights groups have documented are absolutely unacceptable for any government to engage in. By engaging in nothing short of cold-blooded murder, the security and intelligence forces have exceeded their legitimate authority and exchanged justice for brutality. The absence of justice concerns me deeply. While Pakistan has a democratically elected government, the willingness of some agencies of that government to abandon fundamental principles in pursuit of their objectives only deepens the crisis in Balochistan. When there is an absence of justice in any society, there is no way to resolve disputes peacefully, and oppression and violent conflict are the inevitable result. As Supreme Court Justice Javed Iqbal commented on the establishment of the Commission of Inquiry for Missing Persons in May 4th, 2010, stated, quote, "Disappearances of people of Balochistan are the most burning issue in the country. Due to this issue, the situation in Balochistan is at its worst." End quote. Just last fall, the non-governmental domestic organization Human Rights Commission of Pakistan released recommendations in response to a fact-finding mission they conducted over last summer on the ground in Balochistan. They also confirmed that the kill and dump is a continuing policy of the security and intelligence agencies. While they acknowledge that a prerequisite to any hope for peace negotiations is obviously for Baluch separatists to lay down their arms, if only for a time, they state that one of the biggest hurdles in normalization of the situation is the kill and dump policy. The crisis in Balochistan cannot be resolved until justice is both restored and seen to be done. This means establishing and protecting individual rights, restoring a system of law and order that is objectively just, and prosecuting those who have committed these atrocities. To this point, few steps have been taken by the international community to hold Pakistani intelligence and security agencies to account for continuing rights violations in Baluchistan. However, there is more that can be done by us to first of all shine a light on these unacceptable practices and to pressure the responsible elements within the Pakistani government to change course. The very fact that we are meeting here and discussing these issues is, of course, a positive step. But there are also actions that nations who have close ties to the Pakistani military and intelligence services can take in demanding an end to the kill and dump, including withdrawing cooperation and aid. We can pressure other arms of the Pakistani government to investigate the disappearances and take appropriate action in response to their findings. So far, only the judiciary in Pakistan has acted with 2 commissions of inquiry, although according to the organization Human Rights Watch, the judges are probably reticent to dig too deeply and name names out of a legitimate fear of their own security and intelligence services themselves. During his unacknowledged detention in April of 2010, Bashir Azim, the 76-year-old Secretary General of the Baluch Republican Party, said one official told him, quote, "Even if the President or Chief Justice tells us to release you, we won't. We can torture you or kill you or keep you for years at our will. It is only the Army Chief and the Intelligence Chief that we obey." End quote. The recipe for peace and eventual prosperity in Baluchistan lies in reestablishing justice and respect for individual rights and freedoms. The leadership for creating the foundation for such peace can only come from the Pakistani government. Not only must the rights of the Baluch people be respected, those who have violated individual rights in the past must be held accountable. And as mentioned, the international community must play an increased role in bringing these conditions to bear. Thank you for your kind attention.